Hi, this is Will Parker. You might know me as Mad Professor from SimCity Hall.
I'm Kevin Flatt, and I'm known as King Midas on SimCity Hall, and I'm here with Ocean Quinley. So we are super excited about this upcoming game and all that's going on with it, and it just looks fantastic. But I was kind of curious, what plans do you have in the future whenever you think about the SimCity?
So you have to look back at the history of SimCity to think about where we're going to go in the future. So SimCity really started with SimCity Classic, Will's original game, and then kind of developed across multiple games, SimCity 2000, SimCity 3000, and then SimCity 4, where it kind of reached its apogee. That particular architecture kind of, I think, found its full flowering in SimCity 4. And then, of course, the community took it further and built all kinds of extensions and all kinds of additional artwork for it. And so this new SimCity is kind of like back where SimCity was at SimCity Classic, when Will first did it. So where's it going to go? I mean, you just have to look at the difference between SimCity Classic and SimCity 4 to see what kind of arc, 14, 15 years gives you, and extrapolate from where we are now, So my long-term vision for it, and I'll stress this is long-term, is that, the whole gigantic area, 16 kilometers, 32 kilometers, is one contiguous city, in the faraway future. We'll have computing power to do. And there'll be just way more detail. There'll be way more going on. There'll be much more kind of feedback about what the city's doing as well. Who knows? Going to people's houses, I don't know. But you got to look at how comparatively crude SimCity Classic looks compared to SimCity 4, and figure that that same arc of development is going to happen with the new SimCity as well.
I'm just curious, of all the things you've worked on in this SimCity, what is, if you can figure it out, your favorite thing that you put into the game that you felt was just, you put it in there and you're like, I love it so much.
So there's a lot of stuff that I'm proud of in the game. A bunch of the visual tricks to make the world populated with Sims, and to make forests worth of trees, and to make it look like you can see into the buildings, and a bunch of the kind of the big picture stuff about the philosophy of the game, how everything is really simulated there, and that the art's job is to tell you what's going on. But if I had to pick one thing to talk about, I'd say it's either the roads. I'm really pleased with the roads, and roads are a nightmare. I mean, roads are one of those things that can go wrong in a million ways, and if they go right, they just seem to work, and everybody says, well, yeah, they're roads. What's the big deal? But I'm going to pick the music. I think that the fact that we synced up the music to the heartbeat of the simulation is my favorite thing about the game. If you listen to the beat of the music, that's actually the frequency that the simulation is ticking forward. And every time you hear a downbeat when you're playing it at turtle speed, you'll see Sims walking, you'll see the light change on the beat, you'll see puffs of smoke come up on the beat. So the whole city is choreographed to a musical beat. That's the thing I'm proudest of.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool. So our site primarily is based around the whole entire multiplayer aspect of the game, and we try to create regions and then put people inside of the regions to help expand the community. Typically, SimCity has kind of been a game that you play more by yourself. You might have mods that you get from other people, but we're really excited about the fact that you're actually going to be able to play the game with other people. What made you move towards that for SimCity, and what advice do you have for us as we go into more of a community style of game?
Cool. So the initial motivation is just that real cities aren't isolated from each other. Real cities aren't. Maybe Pyongyang is isolated, but real cities are connected to each other by flows of resources. People live in one city and they drive to another city to work. One city might be generating power that then flows through networks to other cities. One city might be a manufacturing center that other people, get jobs at. And so in the real world, there's this sort of complex network of sort of functions that cities perform for each other. And when we were looking at what the new SimCity would be, I really wanted to capture that. I thought it was important for the realism of a city. And then once I realized that, you could specialize different cities and they could do different things for each other and different things in the context of the region, then it made a lot of sense to let different people run those different cities if they wanted to, so that you could perform different specialized roles in the region for each other. So one city could, have all the jails and could send out cops to the other cities to clean up their criminals. Another city could be a bedroom community that, basically sends Sims out to all the jobs in the region. Another one might have garbage dumps and incinerators and so forth. And so the way I think about it is the things that are inside a city. There's a kind of a metabolism of all the different parts and functions that make the city work. In previous SimCities, all those things really had to be in one city. SimCity 4, we did some really crude simulation of the region, but by and large, they had to be in one city. And with this new SimCity, the simulation doesn't care if the services that are being provided are inside the city or are coming from elsewhere. So you can sort of explode the function that used to have to be inside a city into the wider region.
Excellent. It's obvious that you're very passionate about the game. Anybody who's talked to you can see that, obviously. What would you say to people who are still on the fence about getting the game? What would you say to convince them that it is a good buy to get the game?
Right.
That they'll enjoy it? Yeah.
I'd say the main thing is that, so I'm a SimCity fan. I started with SimCity Classic. I decided to come and work for Maxis because of SimCity 2000. That's what made me join the game industry in the first place. Before that, I was, oil painter doing like illustrations and stuff like that. And this SimCity's got some of the same magic, some of the same spark that I felt with SimCity 2000 in particular. So you play the game and it's so alive. There's so much going on. There's so much depth and detail to the simulation, and you can sort of see what people are doing and the struggles of the little Sims in your city and the way they respond to the decisions you make and to the challenges that they face. That when you go back to SimCity 4, which I was a creative director on, I'm very proud of SimCity 4. It makes SimCity 4 feel kind of static, more like a painting of a city than a real living city. And so I think, I think you're just gonna have to listen to your friends, see if your friends like it, in terms of whether you're gonna go buy it. But I'm really pleased with it. For me, it's the SimCity that I always wanted to make.
King Midas says buy the game. It's incredible. You're gonna love it. So whenever we look at the cities, they're beautiful, and we've got all this great stuff inside of it. And part of that is because of the wonderful GlassBox engine. And I just think it looks fantastic whenever you're actually playing with it. What kind of future do you see involving the GlassBox engine and your partnership with Maxis and EA?
So the GlassBox engine's the sort of the underlying simulation machine that is driving everything under the hood, and it's a fantastically powerful general simulation engine. Initially, Andrew Wilmot, who's the engineering lead on SimCity, initially he and I built it more or less to get a feel for what the ultimate simulation toolkit would look like, and then we were allowed to build SimCity with it once we convinced my boss Lucy that it would be a good idea. And we could do any old Maxis style game with it. We could do SimAnt, we could do SimFarm, we could do SimTown, we could do SimTower. Any of the classic Maxis games could be articulated in GlassBox. As to which ones we'll actually do, well, that's just time will tell. But we've got a wonderful toolkit to build stuff with now.
Thank you very much for talking with us. It was a great opportunity to be able to come out here, and we hope you have tons of success in the future.
Thank you very much.